A lot of people ask me, Beef, should I pull on this banner? What cards are worth pulling on these new banners? To which I usually reply, well, it's probably not that great, especially if there's no discounts on it, but, you know, it is what it is. So, recently, just like not even that long ago, we got this new Metal Cooler banner, as you can see here. Just on first glance, the units aren't particularly strong on it, at least as far as the older units go, but let's go ahead and dig into this a little bit and see what's going on. So first off, we have Metal Cooler here. He's the jackpot card, unsurprisingly. So he's going to get top billing. He's going to get the front row on the box art, so to speak. Wicked Bloodline category. Very, very strong. Let me go ahead and pop open the actual SSR window again here, because I actually prepared myself this time. So, again, Wicked Bloodline category, key +3, HP attack and defense plus 170%. Very, very strong. Odds are you already have Super 17, so you're probably not going to be using him as a leader for Extreme AGL, but key +3, attack, defense, and HP 90%. So not too bad. Pretty common super attack damage here, immense damage specifically. Lowers attack and defense. I think that's only like 15-20%, something along those lines. I think it says down here. No, it doesn't. Oh, no, it does. 20% for 3 turns. Not bad. Not bad. So passive skill, attack and defense plus 80%. There's no specific stipulation to it. Just he shows up. He gets those bonuses. Pretty good. Plus an additional attack plus 10% with each attack received, up to 70%. So he gets like a maximum 150% on like a long fight. So it's not bad. It's just not that great either. What makes Cooler stand out specifically is the fact that he recovers 7% HP at the end of the turn in which an attack was received. So, as long as he takes some sort of hit, you get 7% HP back. It's not bad. If you combine him with other cards that do a lot of damage and recover from that damage, stuff like that, transforming Frieza card specifically comes to mind, who's going to work like great with this card. You're going to be a tough nut to crack. He's going to be very strong in like SBR, any of the more recent Dokkan Fest that have popped up, the Dokkan Fest events, that are very, very strong. He also gets auto regeneration for Link skills, Nightmare, Thirst for Conquest, Strongest Clan in Space, Big Bad Bosses, Transform, and Fierce Battle. So a lot of these you're gonna find on Frieza category, which, you know, well, not Frieza category, but like actual Frieza units. That's because these are, you know, that's the whole point, is to have them all linked together perfectly, and that's why he's Wicked Bloodline category. So it says core appears when HP 60% or below. So he's sort of like the old school Great Ape cards. Like the Tapion cards, stuff like that. Oh, worth noting, his super attack can be farmed, which is very, very helpful. Very helpful. Get him to super attack 10 with very minimal issues. So it greatly raises his attack for 1 turn if you can actually fill out his key, which is a pain in the butt, in my opinion, but very strong. Still very, very strong. Destructive damage. So yeah, there's really no reason not to try to pull for this card, especially if you have a whole bunch of Frieza units. Tech Golden Frieza is getting a EZA on Japan right now, the Japanese version specifically. So this card has a lot going for it, and there's a lot of great cards that link with this, including himself. Because he's just Metal Cooler, and then there's also Intelligence LR Metal Cooler Army, stuff like that. Those are the sort of units that you would run on a strictly Frieza team, or Frieza Cooler team, whatever. which, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, why haven't they made a King Cold unit yet? Food for thought. So, strong card. I mean, it makes sense. He's a new Dokkan Fest unit. Let's move on. Another Super Saiyan Vegeta, as if we don't have a billion of these already. So, as you can see, he is he's a Tech Nuker leader. So, if you don't have a Tech Nuker and you need one for say like the punching bag event, then this guy's probably gonna be your go-to. He doesn't really seem that great at first glance, but when he Dokkans, he's a little bit better. Not to mention the art looks a lot better too, that's for sure. So again, Tech Nuke lead, attack plus 33% per Tech Key Sphere obtained. Causes supreme damage with high chance to stun the enemy, and I believe that is a 50% chance. So coin flip, not bad. If you, I mean, again, I reiterate my point from my last video. Like, stunners aren't that useful to me anymore. So it feels like when they're giving stun to these units now, they're making sure that they have high chances to stun so that they can be useful in the times when they're going to be useful. So not that great in terms of, you know, the stunning, even though it's a coin flip, because there's a lot of the stuff that a lot of the teams you would put him on, a lot of the stuff you'd run him against would be immune to stun in some way, shape, or form. So not very strong, but he has other benefits. Obviously, attack and defense plus 100%, which is spectacular for. I mean, he basically gets this with no requirements, no stipulations. He shows up, attack and defense plus 100%, very strong. Key plus 2 makes him self-sufficient. Additional attack 20%, plus 20% when HP is 80% or below. It's really not uncommon to be under 80%, especially if you're running him on teams against like SBR, like Super Battle Road, or even the more recent Dokkan Fest events. It's not uncommon to be 80% or below. You get another key plus 2 and attack plus 50% when HP is 50% or below. So he gets, at 50% HP or below, he gets 170% attack, which is pretty darn good. And plus he's self-sufficient too, so he gets plus 4 key. So you just need to find 2 key orders, which is not impossible on a unit like this, especially considering that he has Prepare for Battle, not difficult to find, Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan Prodigies, Saiyan Pride, Royal Lineage, Fierce Battle. More than likely you'd run this character on like a Pure Saiyans or Vegeta's family team. So I mean, he's strong in the sense that he comes out, he gets a huge bonus. And then as your HP gets lower, he gets a little bit better, and a little bit better, etc., etc. Then he starts to hit like a truck. He has good links. So I mean, like, besides the stun, I mean, you could take it or leave it, but the rest of what this Vegeta has is pretty strong. The only issue is that you have to compare him to like literally every other Super Saiyan Vegeta in the game, which is a big problem. Because the game is obviously oversaturated with Super Saiyan Vegeta cards. So next unit we have here is the Strength Piccolo, who's it's very, like, this card is just ridiculous. Mostly because of the choices that Bandai Namco have made for this particular card, and I'll show you why. Pulling up the SSR screen again here. Shot at Victory Piccolo, so he's a strength nuke leader now. So again, great card to have if you need a strength nuke lead, so you can do those punching bag events. His super attack makes him another strength card that has an AoE attack, so good for World Tournament. Causes supreme damage to all enemies with a chance to stun them. Just the fact that he can stun, 25% chance, makes him very strong in World Tournament, because there's not a whole lot of cards that hit every card, and stun. Even at 25% chance is pretty strong. Just like the cards before him, he gets no requirements are needed for the attack and defense plus 100%, which makes him very strong out the gate. When he's facing 2 or more enemies, key plus 6 and additional attack defense plus 30%. So he doesn't get a huge boost, especially compared to like Cooler or the Super Saiyan Vegeta we just looked at, but it still makes him pretty strong. Also makes him self-sufficient. So if you're facing 2 or more enemies, which again, if you're running him on a World Tournament team, you are going to run into more than one enemy. So yeah, you're always going to get a super, very, very strong card for World Tournament. As usual, he's a Piccolo card, so his links suck. Fierce Battle, that's about maybe the only one that you're going to get. You can run him on like a Namekian team, but why would you? I mean, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Piccolo cards in Dokkan just because they're not that great. Like, if they made it so that all the Piccolo cards were sorted by the movie or the arc that they were in, so that you could use like a full team of Piccolos, I feel like then it would be worth running Piccolo cards. But it's a Piccolo card, yay! It's one of the better cards here in terms of like versatility. But beyond that, he's Piccolo card. You usually want to steer clear of those. So Dokkan Fest. The next featured unit is Super Saiyan Gohan. Future, not missing an arm for some reason, which is silly. He's a category lead, as you can see here. Well, you'll see here in a second. Future Saga category, yay! So what is he Dokkan into? Let's see. Power to face despair, Super Saiyan Gohan, Future. So Future category, pretty typical category lead. HP plus 130%, attack and defense plus 170%. He self buffs for his super attack, attack and defense for up for 1 turn, which is 30% for attack and defense. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Causes immense damage. That makes sense for Dokkan Fest exclusives. I mean, it is what it is. Attack plus 100%. That kind of makes you a little leery about using him, but he does get a defense boost. Raises defense up to 100%. The less HP remaining, the greater the defense boost. Damage received, negative 10% at the start of every turn, up to 50%. So he can get tanky, but this is another card that relies on HP management, and he needs to be. He's one of those cards that flourishes during like long fights, right? SBR fights, Super Battle Road, stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend trying to pull just for this card, but if you get him, I mean, it's not. I mean, it could be a lot worse. Future Saga category is unfortunately not that great in my opinion. It's basically Potara, but without the Potara lead. So as you can see, LR Tech, Rose, and Zamasu. Any of the Vegeta Blue cards. Any of the black cards, transforming black, he's coming fairly soon, stuff like that. So it's basically Potara Light, which is one of the reasons why I've never been a big fan of that particular category. It seems like a throwaway category. It's like, wow, you didn't get a Potara lead, but here's Future Saga, and great. So I mean, at the end of the day, in the future Gohan, he's okay. You're probably not going to use him. You're probably not going to use him as a lead for his category, but you know, he exists. He's on the banner. If you pull him, he's okay. Next up, we have Jiren, who's been in the game for quite some time now, but one of his most notable, forgot turn on the SSR. But one of the most notable things about this card is that he is a heavy stunner. So just by coming out onto the field, he has a chance to stun all enemies, and when the enemies are stunned, he gets critical hits on them, which makes him very, very strong. So let's pull up the SSR screen again here. He's another category lead, Universal Survival Saga category key, +3 HP, attack, and defense, plus 150%. Pretty strong. He also boosts up strength units, but this is another one of those cards where unless you're like brand spanking new and you've just pulled this card, you're probably not going to use just any strength types. It's all going to be Universal Survival Saga cards, along with a Jiren leader. Immense damage greatly lowers defense, which again is a 50%. So attack and defense plus 130%, very strong. Again, medium chance to stun all enemies at the start of the turn. Looks like that's about a 25% chance. That's still pretty good, especially if you run him on a alongside that Piccolo from earlier. Has a chance to stun with his super. So stuns us all over the place in SBR. Stuns all over the place in World Tournament. Another good card to use. So again, as I said before, he performs critical hit on stun enemies, so he's gonna do quite a bit of damage. Most of his links, if I remember correctly, he shares with that Topo card. So alongside Topo, especially Dokkan, he's very strong. So you run him on Universal Survival Saga, and then you call it a day. He can actually you can grind that free tech Jiren to raise his super attack, so that's another nice benefit to having this Jiren, is that you don't really need to spend Kais on it unless you really want to, but I'm lazy, so I probably would. So Jiren, pretty strong card, older card, but he still pulls his weight. Physical, cooler, final form. This guy's been around for quite some time. Extreme physical lead. Pop open that SSR box again here. You can see that when he's Dokkan, it's 120% for extreme physical key type. Even though he's an older card, he's still fairly strong, causes immense damage, greatly lowers defense, attack and defense plus 100%. Launch an additional attack, which has a chance to become a super attack, which looks like 10% chance for additional attack to become a super attack, which is shockingly low now that I think about it, but I feel like it probably procs a lot more than it seems. So the usual Frieza clan sort of link skills, so you'll probably run him on especially if you're lacking some key Frieza cards, and you'll probably run this guy. If you have him, if you pulled him. Still very strong. Last but not least is an even older card than that, is the full power Frieza, physical one. After his Easy A, he's still very strong. So he's worth running, especially on a most malevolent category. So pop open the SSR window again. So what we're looking at specifically is his Easy A, obviously, because his old stats are pretty underwhelming. Physical key, +3 attack, HP, attack, defense, 70%. Makes him a decent leader in Virtual Dokkan, the battlefield, because you can actually run him as a leader in the early stuff and save your better physical units and leaders for later. Immense damage, as usual, raises defense by 30% for 3 turns, which makes him pretty tanky. Attack plus 120% when performing a super attack, but he also gets key +3 and defense plus 30% as the first attacker in a turn. A lot of people don't like the cards that depend on having a specific placement, because you need to have the flexibility to move the unit wherever you want to. But in a lot of cases, I find that that's not a big deal. You can just go ahead and just put them wherever. Just I mean, you can put him wherever, but you might as well just leave him as the first attacker on a turn anyway, because he's going to be one of your heaviest damage dealers. Fully extreme Z awakened, he's going to be there. So as you can see, usual link skills for Frieza Clan. So he will link great with just about anybody that's Frieza or cooler, metal cooler, whatever. So yeah, that is pretty much it. The rest of the units, as you can see, are just bum SRs and not that useful. But as promised, we're gonna take a couple cracks at this baby and see if we can get anything decent out of this. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do about 3, I think, maybe 2. But let's see how it goes. Okay, we got Vegeta. But are they going to fuse? That's the question. Nope. Always a disappointment to give Vegeta and then they don't fuse. It's like, oh man. Get your hopes up and everything, man. Cooler. Oh boy. This is looking like a junk multi already. Alright. Well, at least, gosh, I think I can rainbow mine now. That's sad. Alright. Cross our fingers and hope for a better second multi here. What do we got? Oof. All the crappy humans. Come on. Rainbow. I think Instant Super Saiyan is a bad sign, but we'll see. Okay, Super Saiyan 3, not a big deal anymore. Something tells me we're not getting anything good out of these multis, fellas. It's looking pretty bleak. Jiren. It's at least it gives me a dupe for my Jiren now, so that's alright, I guess. And this guy's okay. I would have rather that have been metal cooler, but you know, oops. I pulled the trigger a little bit sooner than I was expecting to, but that's okay. We'll lock that Gohan up later and figure out what to do with him. Oh, Vegeta again. We gonna get a fusion? No. Rainbow. Which is something, I guess. In a crack screen, maybe? Come on. No? I mean, I can't say I'm particularly surprised. You know, I'm not sure about this guy. I don't even remember what his stuff is. Let's see. Super Saiyan 3 category. I think this is one of the newer... the newer Super Saiyan 3 Vegetas. Though I think it might be the one that replaced the Trunks and the Gohan over on GP. Wouldn't shock me. Tech Kid Boo. I mean, I got some okay cards, but I mean, it's not what I was hoping for. But I refuse to spend more on this banner than I already have. I gotta save up for year 4. But I mean, there you have it, fellas. It's now you know what to expect. A little bit of multi-pull action, but hopefully your guys' pulls are better than mine. Mine were kind of meh, so they probably will be. But you fellas have a great night, or day, or whatever it is, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. Take it easy.